Hi, I'm Reen and Faith, and I'm here to tell you a story. So, in the theme of summer, I was thinking about dumb things that I've done during the summer. Not all of these are summertime stupidity, but there's a certain air of stupid that increases during the summer, like the absence of schooling or routine, I guess, suddenly brings about really, really dumb behavior. So these aren't even all from my younger years or that time frame, but it's on theme. So it's sort of it could have been worse and near-death experiences. So the first one, when I was young, my parents went to the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, and we lived in married student housing, and we did not have a car. So everywhere we went, we walked. If we do a big grocery store trip, we would take a taxi home or have a neighbor bring us back or what have you. But generally, we walked everywhere, which was fine, great public transportation, and everybody's feet worked. So there we are, walking all over the place. So in order to get from our apartment complex to sort of the main part of the area where we generally did most of our life business, our school was over there, dance studio, the grocery store, we would have to cross some train tracks. But we weren't crossing at a roadway. We were crossing in between, we were going down in the brush. Definitely not an authorized place to be crossing the train. Not a great plan overall, but we did this all the time. So you'd go down this little ravine because, of course, there's sort of a ditch to it where the train is in between. The main road is up on either side. And by road, I mean the walkways or properties. So on one side, there's a parking lot that has a shopping center and stuff. And across that parking lot would be Kingston Pike, which is the main road through part of Knoxville and certainly the area that we lived in. And so there would just be this ravine on either side. Here's the thing. You would enter on the apartment complex side at, say, this point A, and then you would have to walk down the train track about maybe 200 feet-ish, and then go down to go back up again, because there were sort of paved walk paths where people were regularly doing this. But on either side, it's pretty steep, and you're kind of crisscross zigzagging down, and then you're walking across the train tracks and then walking back up. So I liked to run ahead. That's kind of a theme for most of my life. I wanted to run ahead. So I would run ahead of my mom and my sister if we were walking. And Rory's decided she wants to be very invested in this experience. She's bumping the light and the rest. Anyhow, so I've run ahead, and I'm down at the bottom, and I get up onto the train tracks, and we would always wait and listen. I mean, we were very street savvy. I was for sure street savvy, knowing, how to cross these main big roads, how to cross the train tracks. So you'd listen and wait for the train, and you would not cross, obviously, if you heard the train coming or you saw the train coming, just stay up and away. Well, this time when I got onto the tracks, I look over to my left because I start to feel some rattling, and the train is coming, which I don't know why it took me by surprise, because I hadn't heard anything. It hadn't, the horn hadn't been blown. So now I'm looking at how much further I have to go, this 200 feet that I've got to walk across the tracks to walk back down into the ravine and then back up onto the other side, or to go backwards, which seems even less a great idea because now I'm going to have my back to the train, and I don't love that. And I'm maybe a quarter of the way onto the tracks already. So I've got about another 150 feet to go. And so as I can see the train fully coming at me, I decide the best thing for me to do is get the heck off these tracks and as far up into the ravine on the other side as I can. But there's no walkway, right? So I hustle down those tracks, down and back up onto that ravine side, and I just grab hold of anything I can. So there's no trees over there. It's just like low brush, maybe nothing's more than like 2 or 3 feet high brush wise. And so I run, I get hold of this stuff, I grab on as tight as I can. Now, important to note, The brush that I grabbed onto is thorny as all get out. Not to mention, of course, it's sort of in soft dirt. So as I'm hustling and scrambling up the side, I am just like sinking a little bit every step I take. But I grab onto this for my life, literally for my life, because of course I've seen movies and advisories and all the rest of that. When these trains are coming through and they're coming through at top speed, they can sort of suction anything that's near the edges up underneath them, which is why I didn't think for a second to stay in the ravine part. I wanted to get up higher and away. So I'm holding on for dear life, and I can hear about that time my mom starts screaming from the other side, because remember, I've run ahead. So my mom wasn't even down into the base by the time I was on the tracks and running up onto the other side. I was that far ahead. Ridiculousness. Gave my mom a flipping heart attack. So I'm holding on. My mom is screaming for me. There's no point in me screaming back because she's not going to hear me. I am facing away and I'm like hunkered down so I don't like fall, slip, come back down into the ravine. And of course, there's this massive train that's passing. Yikes. I would kill my kids if they put me through this. So anyways, the train finally passes entirely. My mom scrambles over. She makes my sister stay on that side because she's so like, I don't know what I'm going to find. And so she's looking at the track. She gets to the top of the track. She's looking all over and I'm hollering at her and she can't see me because again, I'm in the bushes hunkered down and I can't let go and just pop back up because I've grabbed hold of a thorny bush. Whatever this plant bush thing was, it's thorns. And I have gripped this thing, death grip style, right? And so I'm going to need someone to like pry my hands up and off of the thorns because I can't just open them at this point. I really cannot move them beyond. I've grabbed around entirely. So I have thorns in every possible space. And I can't stand up because I can't get enough clearance. And of course, I'm a little worried that I'm going to fall backwards. So my mom realizes I'm not on the track exactly. She's a little bit thinking, my God, is she in the front of the track and I don't see her? So she grabs my sister then and hustles around to the other side. She can hear me yelling back now. So she comes down from the parking lot side and starts to see, generally, I'm like, you're close. So she finds me and she, like releases my hands from the thorns and I am like cut up to shreds. Like my hands are totally bloody and shredded. And I look like I've just, exactly the experience I've had. I like got dirt all over my face and dirt on my knees and my clothes. And my hands are bloody. I'm a disaster. And my mom's scolding me for like running off and running ahead. And it was just so stupid. So I was definitely safe from where I was at. Again, like I could feel the train, the pull and the wind that it creates and going through, but it created a lot of like anxious stress. Now, to paint a picture, I am probably 6 or 7 years old. Like this is the level of just not making great choices that I'm exercising. To be that far in front of my mom, which I know I'm not supposed to do. Started to cross the train tracks without my mom. Also, fully aware I'm not supposed to do that. And then to just generally have put myself in this situation all across the board, bad idea. But I was fine. I didn't die. But did you die? No, I didn't. I survived. But I cannot imagine actually crossing train tracks with my children and allowing them to run ahead in any capacity. It's not like my mom allowed me, right? Like I was being disobedient. I was supposed to stay close to her. But my sister walked slower than me for good reason. She was, 3 months younger than me. And at that time, that was a pretty significant difference. In adulthood, immaterial. In childhood, massive, right? So she's like 3 or 4. Her little legs, scrambling around are not the same as mine at my 6, 7 years old, doing my own thing. So there was that. The next time, I was at a party with some friends in Carlsbad, and everybody was having a great time. And I did not drink in high school or after high school. I actually don't drink now either. So I wasn't drinking anything, and I never done drugs. And so I wasn't doing anything that would be like particularly problematic, but there was alcohol at this party. And I happened to I don't even know who owned the house. I was there with some friends who were friends of a friend kind of thing. So I don't know anything about the area. We just like, oh, let's go by and say hi. And so there's alcohol there. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't like love being in a situation where potentially I'm going to get into trouble because the presumption of underage drinking. And at the time, the police were really kind of cracking down on that and like breaking up house parties for any reason, right? If they saw a lot of cars in the street in front of a house, they were trying to figure out where the shenanigans were taking place. So we're all there. My friends and I that I'd come with, we're outside, and there was a pool out there, and we were just hanging out. And all of a sudden, you hear someone scream that the cops are there. I have zero interest in getting in trouble for something I'm not actually doing. I mean, yes, I'm present. Okay, whatever. But I'm not drinking. I'm not doing drugs. I have no idea what anybody else is doing, but I'm not doing any of those things. And I don't want to get in trouble for that, even just for being there. It's a whole rigmarole. I do not need to be made an example of. Now, I was 18 at the time, but again, presence of alcohol, that whole nonsense, I'm not in the mood. So my friend and I both look at each other. Now, I was not a tree climber. Like, there are kids who are tree climbers. I was not a tree climber. I didn't really have a lot of trees that I would have climbed, that like in my general vicinity or whatever. So I didn't have that sort of inclination, but I did do a lot of time on the bars in the playground when I was a kid. So I can climb and I can do things and whatever tricks on the bars, but I was not inherently a tree climber. But my friend and I both look at each other and we look at the tree nearest to us and we have our mind made up. We are getting up this tree. So we start climbing up this tree and we are really high up this tree and I mean fast. It was like we flew up into the tree. And so he's helping me and I'm helping him and we get ourselves situated. So we are solidly 15 to 20 feet above the ground because we wanted to be in the thick of the brush so you could not see us from down below. Like, we were perched. And I mean, it was a big tree with really solid branches. But I mean, it's dark. I have no idea what I'm doing necessarily. Again, not an avid tree climber. That's important. So we're sitting up there and the cops do come out into the backyard and they're shining their flashlights around and they're gathering up people. And if you're there, and they said, if you're hiding in the tree, come down now so you don't get hurt. And we just did not move. So I don't know if other people had this great idea or whatever, but we just pretended like we were statues. We became one with the tree. We stayed in the tree. Not a budge. I don't know if they just kind of gave it to us, knew we were in the tree, could see us. Because, it's that thing pets do and children when they're playing hide and seek where they cover their eyes. I can't see you, you can't see me. I felt a little bit like we were doing that. But they left us there. They gathered up all the other people at the party and just dispersing people and, inquiring about who's doing what and where and, where our parents and folks are getting called and ugh, what a mess. So we're stuck in this tree for probably 30 minutes, not exaggerating. And this is pre-cell phone days. Or if I had a phone, I didn't have it with me, whatever. I had a pager. Super cool. I had a pager, which was the same phone number as my cell phone is now. I just transitioned my phone number from my pager to my cell phone when I finally got a cell phone. So I've had this number for 28 plus years now. But anyways, we're up in the tree, camped out, just kind of making eyes at each other okay, are you good? I'm good. Are you secure? But we're not talking. So we're kind of miming, but holding on. It was a whole situation. And so finally, after about 30 minutes, it seems like whatever's gone on is done. And they've cleared everything out and lights are starting to go off. They turned off the patio lights for outside. And we're just a little bit more panicked because we could barely see as it was when we were scrambling up the tree. Now coming down the tree is going to be a whole different situation. And quite inconveniently, it wasn't as though the part of the tree we were hanging on to was over the water where of their pool where we could just jump off into the pool. We're going to have to scramble back down the tree, which is over the concrete deck, and then get ourselves out of there. So finally we start to scramble down and we decide, you know what? It makes just as much sense for us not to walk back into the house as it does for us to we could just go over the backside of this fence. The tree was kind of over enough of two houses where we could just get down, use it as leverage to get onto the fence on the other side, and then just, off on our way and then walk around the block to get the car. So we do that. So we survive. But the two of us, we were laughing about it for like hours afterwards. And every now and again, see each other like, oh, hung out in any cool trees recently? Like, it was just our war story. And we were so paranoid. And a couple of our friends did end up getting talked to and asked to leave. They weren't doing anything. The cops were really mellow. They mostly just wanted to break up the chaos. So it was overall not a bad experience. We didn't end up in too bad of a space, but that could have been so much worse. Seriously, could have been so much worse. And also, we could have died. Because if we had fallen from that height onto that concrete patio, it would not have fared well for either of us. But thankfully, that was not the case. So, yay. The next one, my mom, when she first heard the story, she was like, stop telling me things. I wish I didn't know this about my kid, or that didn't really happen. At first she was like, no way, that didn't really happen. And then she realized of course this did in fact happen, and she would rather not know these stories about my youth. And so I was 18 at the time. I had borrowed my dad's car. He had a Lincoln Town Car that was like late 80s Lincoln Town Car, maybe early 90s. And it was a boat. Land yacht is what he called it. Okay, this thing was massive, huge vehicle. I had borrowed it because I didn't have a car, and I'd gone down to see a friend, and we had stayed up until really late, and I could have stayed there, but I thought, you know what? I'm wide awake right now. I'm just going to head home. And this person's house was about 20 to 30 minutes from my house at this time of night. Like, there's not going to be any traffic. I'm going to 30 minutes. I'm going to be fine. So I'm like, I got this. I'm just going to drive home. But it is in the wee hours, right? Probably 2 something in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm going to head home. First of all, not a great idea, but whatever. I'm fine. Get on the freeway. They live pretty far from the freeway entrance. Get on the freeway. It is blanket fog. Like, are you for real right now? So this is in San Diego. Absolute thick, cottony blanket fog. It's like the stuff of dreamland, right? And so I'm immediately panicked because you see it and it really does, you feel like, oh, I could just go to sleep right now. Well, that's all fine and well, except I'm the one who's driving the car. So I roll down all the windows in the car. I blast the music. I'm singing to myself to keep myself awake. I'm like smacking myself. I'm like pinching my leg, trying to keep myself awake, because the fog is just, again, I was so wide awake. And then the second I'm in this foggy space, I'm like, oh, I feel so at peace, and I could just drift off into dreamland. Ugh, whatever. So I keep driving, and another, by the way, okay, so hindsight being 2020, right? Another really viable and sound option at this time would have been for me to exit the freeway safely, go to an area that's well lit, lock all the doors, lay down in the back seat, take a nap, and then resume my driving when I was more coherent, right? Like, that was a good and viable option. Did I exercise that option? I did not. What I did was continue driving. So I keep on driving, and I'm right before my exit. So my exit was San Marcos Boulevard, and I had just passed Twin Oaks Valley Road. And I thought, well, okay, my exit is right there. I'm fine, right? So I roll up the windows and bring the music down a little bit, because I'm thinking, my gosh, I'm going to be like that nuisance driver if I keep this all on and I get out on get out into the main road at this wee hours of the morning. That would be so disrespectful and draw unnecessary attention. So I start rolling up all the windows, bringing the volume down. Okay. It's not that long between these two places. So I've just gone under the bridge at Twin Oaks Valley when I've started rolling these things up. And somewhere in between that point and the sign that says San Marcos Boulevard, exit here, I have fallen asleep. I've completely drifted off. Okay, so I'm drifting the car, and I come to, wake up, as I'm hitting the little markers that are in front of the road sign that says San Marcos Boulevard, exit here. So it startles me awake because, and I mean, they start a fair distance before the sign. So I'm like probably 15 feet, but I overcorrect with the wheel, you know, like a sharp pull. And I turn, I do a full rotation and then come around. And so I am perpendicular across the freeway. So here's the freeway going this direction, right? My driver's side here, the car is completely blocking 3 lanes. Because again, this is a massive car. Well, 2.5 lanes, right? So I'm blocking like this. And I look over my shoulder towards oncoming traffic. And I see coming out of the fog a truck. And then I can read the words, Mac. Holy moly, there is a Mac truck coming for me. This car does not have a great turning radius, okay? Like, it's huge, and so it doesn't have a great turning radius, and I whip that thing like it could turn on a dime and somehow get myself out of the way, turning around, like, so I'm back going the right direction. I get off the freeway. My heart is beating out of my chest. I can feel it in my throat. I am, like, so sure I almost died, wondering if, in fact, I did die, and this is just a dream-like post-death state that I'm in, right? So like, am I just watching this happen from above? Like, what is going on? And so in a panic, and because I'm shaking so bad, when I get off the freeway, I immediately go to the nearest gas station because I'm like, I've got to assess the damage. I hit those road sign, I hit those markers. I don't know if I've tweaked my dad's car in some other capacity. My dad is for sure going to kill me because he loves this car. He loves this car so much. He'd wanted this car forever. It made him feel like, honestly, like a mafia king. Like that was his sort of vibe with his car, which is not something I like to promote or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, that is how he felt, like such a boss in this vehicle. And he would wipe this thing down with a cloth diaper. I mean, he was so obnoxious about his care for the car. I mean, good that he took care of his things, but also so over the top. So the fact that I've ruined his car is just like weighing on me so heavily as I get off, and I'm just thinking, I am so stupid. I should have just stayed there and slept and then driven in the morning when I was more wide awake, or I should have pulled off at some point when I was feeling tired, or I should have left all the windows up and the music blasting until I was safely home, regardless of whoever I made upset along the way. But did I do those things? I did not do those things, right? Okay, so now I'm off the freeway. I'm assessing the situation. I'm looking around the car, and I get to the passenger's front panel, and I look, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And I see there's scrapes, like the door is here and the front panel is here, and there's scrapes like this. I'm like, that's it. I'm dead. I am literally a dead person walking. My dad is going to kill me. I have no idea how much it's going to cost to fix this front panel, buff out the scrapes. There's no dents, thank God, but like buff out all these scrapes and have that panel repainted. And how much is this going to cost? And I have no idea. Thank God I'm employed. I'm like, these are all the things that are going through my head. I'm like, but I'm alive and miraculously wide awake. All it took was a little adrenaline rush, and look at me. Couldn't be more awake if I tried. So I drive home, park the car. Good grief. And I'm going to have to go to my parents' house that following, well, it's morning now, in a couple of hours for brunch. And so I call my parents before I leave my house. And, you know, is there anything you need me to get? My dad says, yeah, grab some OJ on the way. So great. I'm driving over to the grocery store nearer to their house, and I'm contemplating, what am I going to do to like cover this? Like, I don't want to have to lie, but I need to say something other than what actually happened, because my dad is otherwise really going to murder, death, kill me. So when I go to the grocery store to get the orange juice, I grab a loose basket, like grocery basket, that's sitting in the parking lot in some haphazard way. And I just sort of like take the basket and align it and like sort of just push it in the direction of the car and walk out. Like, not hard, right? But like, it's going to start rolling that direction, and it's going to come into contact with the car. So I keep walking. And if somebody's watching me do this, I'm sure they're like, what is this crazy person's problem? Right? And that's what it was. I was crazy, like absolutely crazy that I was going to get in trouble. So I go into the grocery store, I get the orange juice, I come back out, and then I go, like out loud, for someone's benefit, I don't know whose, right? oh no, somebody let a cart hit the car. Oh my gosh. So I get the cart and I put it back in the ground. Take the orange juice, go to my parents' house. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to buy some time. I'm going to just park the car. My dad, for some who knows reason, is standing downstairs. They live in an apartment complex. He's standing downstairs waiting for me to arrive. What a stalker. And he comes up. He immediately goes to the front panel. I don't even park the car. I am like behind parked cars because my dad is standing there. Stop the car, put it in park, jump out of the car, run around. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he's like, he's buffing. He's doing this, right? Like on that side. And I'm once again in this state of absolute panic and horror because I'm going to die. My dad's going to kill me for damaging his vehicle. And I quick run around and I'm telling him my story. Oh my gosh, Dad, it was so crazy. What a jerk. This person, because it's me, I am a jerk. I did this. This person like left a cart and it hit the car. And I saw it when I came back out from getting the orange juice. Can you believe that? What a jerk. And he's like still like buffing and doing this. And, you know, he's like, hold on. And he like opens the door and he's getting into the glove box and he's wiping it down with this cloth diaper that is present in the glove box at all times. Unbelievable. And he goes, this? Oh, no. This was there. This was the only thing that was wrong with the car when I bought it. It was like that the whole time. And I didn't know because I don't pay that much attention. I'm just trying to cover my chaos, right? That was the only thing that was wrong with the car when so somehow miraculously I've hit signs. I pushed a basket into the car, which was not necessary. And I did all of this for no particular reason because that damage existed before my dad bought the car. Oh, seriously. And so when I told my mom about this years later, she goes, no, that didn't, no. So I tell her, no. Okay, you know what? I don't want to hear these stories anymore. So Mom, I'm sorry. These are dumb things that I did. Kids, do not try this at home. Also, don't even bother because honestly, I'm going to know you did this because I did the dumb things. So I'm like keen to the dumb things. I'm aware, prepared with consequences. I won't kill you, but you might prefer your existence was different if I catch you doing these dumb things. So anyways, those are my stories. Just some of those fun. Near death, it could have been worse. It definitely could have been worse. Stories from my childhood and very young adulthood. There are loads more, but just a glimpse. Anyways, have a good day. I hope you enjoyed. Come back again. I'll tell you another story. Thanks.